Welcome to Below the Beat. I'm your host, Will Duxon, and today I'll be discussing two things. First will be a little-known fact about Drake, and second will be the origins of rap music. Perhaps the most surprising and little-known fact about Drake is that the unconventional rule-breaking recording process, which was fundamental to developing his early sound, according to his longtime producer, Noah 40 Shabib, is due to the fact that Drake doesn't hear the beat in a typical rhythmic way. Instead, he focuses on the spaces between the beat, which allows him to craft his signature laid-back flow. Even more astonishing is that the lo-fi minimalist sound that came to define his early career was largely born out of necessity. For years, he and 40 created hits with a makeshift studio setup that included recording vocals in hotel rooms with mattresses propped up against the wall for soundproofing. The now iconic atmospheric introspective vibe of his early work wasn't a calculated aesthetic choice. 40 recalled to Revolt TV that early hits from his So Far Gone mixtape were mixed on basic AKG headphones and clock radios to ensure they sounded good to the average listener, not just on high-end equipment. In the days before he was a superstar, Drake would write out his verses on his BlackBerry phone. He would openly pull out the device during studio sessions or even freestyles, using it to refine his lyrics with precision. This approach was captured during a viral moment on a Funkmaster Flex show, where some initially criticized his unusual method. The 2011 track Marvin's Room was never intended for radio play. 40 thought it was just Drake and him having fun, and they released it on their blog without label clearance. But its raw, vulnerable, and unstructured style resonated with a wide audience, helping to usher in a new subgenre of vulnerable R&B influenced rap. Despite having access to lavish, state-of-the-art studios, Drake has always preferred recording in intimate, low-pressure environments. He told Entertainment Weekly that working in big studios makes him feel like he gotta make a hit. This led him to create a home studio in Toronto, designed to feel like a relaxed lounge rather than a laboratory, a practice he continued while recording on his It's All a Blur tour. Now, for the origins of rap music. You're probably familiar with the names Gil Scott-Heron and DJ Kool Herc, so let's start with them. Gil Scott-Heron, the self-described bluesologist, is credited by many with giving hip-hop its voice. Starting in the late 1960s, he delivered politically charged spoken-word poetry over funk, jazz, and blues. His 1970 masterpiece, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, showed how words backed by music could become militant social critique. Scott-Heron's lyrical storytelling and rhythmic focus created a template that would influence everyone from Kanye West to Kendrick Lamar. Meanwhile, in the Bronx, Jamaican immigrant DJ Kool Herc was building hip-hop's sonic foundation. At his legendary block parties in the early 1970s, Herc noticed dancers came alive during the percussive break sections of funk records. Using two turntables, he developed the merry-go-round, extending these breaks indefinitely by switching between two copies of the same record. This was the birth of the breakbeat, and as he spun, Herc and his partner Coke La Rock added rhythmic chants to hype the crowd, a style borrowed from Jamaican toasting that became the blueprint for modern rapping. But the story of how hip-hop was born isn't just about two men. It's about the convergence of multiple traditions, innovations, and communities coming together at a specific moment in time. So now, I want to dive even deeper into the origin story of rap music. Here's what's missing from the above narrative. Scott-Heron didn't invent spoken word over music. The last poets, formed in 1968, were already pioneering politically charged poetry over percussion. And the lyrical DNA of rap goes back even further to African-American verbal traditions like the dozens, ritualized insult battles that shaped rap's competitive spirit, and signifying the art of clever wordplay and boasting that defined the culture. And we can't talk about hip-hop sound without James Brown. His emphasis on the one that first beat and his syncopated rhythms and call-and-response style weren't just influential, they were foundational. Funky Drummer alone became one of the most sampled breaks in history. DJ Kool Herc may have started it, but Grandmaster Flash revolutionized it. Flash pioneered punch phrasing and scratching techniques, transforming the turntable from a playback device into a musical instrument. Afrika Bambaataa took it further, defining hip-hop as a complete culture with four elements: DJing, MCing, breaking, and graffiti, and organizing the movement through the universal Zulu nation. And while Coke La Rock deserves recognition as potentially the very first MC, it was artists like Grandmaster Caz and Mel Mel who developed rapping into an actual craft, sophisticated rhyme schemes, distinctive flows, and delivery styles that went far beyond simple crowd hyping. But here's the truth, hip-hop couldn't have been born anywhere else. The Bronx in the 1970s was facing socio-economic devastation, planned shrinkage, gang violence, urban decay. Hip-hop emerged as a creative outlet and a community-building force in the midst of that struggle. The culture was diverse from day one. Puerto Rican and Latin communities were integral, from b-boy crews to graffiti writers to the Latin percussion woven into the breaks. Herc brought Jamaican sound system culture and reggae techniques. The broader New York DJ culture and funk and disco clubs provided a model where DJs were already stars. And hip-hop wasn't just music. B-boying and breaking were as fundamental as the beats. The breakbeat literally exists to support the dancers. Graffiti was the visual component. Radio DJs like Mr. Magic brought it to wider audiences. And when Rapper's Delight dropped in 1979, hip-hop made its contested but crucial transition from live party culture to recorded music. So yes, Gil Scott-Heron gave hip-hop its lyrical conscience, and DJ Kool Herc gave it the breakbeat. But hip-hop's genesis was really the collision of African-American verbal arts, Jamaican sound system culture, funk and soul, Puerto Rican and Latin influences, technological innovation by multiple pioneers, the development of MCing as a distinct art form, and the specific conditions of 1970s New York, all converging in one explosive moment. That's the real story. Not two men, but a movement. Not one invention, but a revolution built by an entire community. Thanks for watching Below the Beat. If you want more stories about the human moments that shape music history, subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you next time.